Hi, good morning. Welcome to my channel. I don't know if any of you know this. Regarding the Diddy case, Puff Diddy, Sean John Combs, there's a woman at the moment that I refer to as the whistleblower, and her name is Jaguar Wright. And she's been in the industry, let's say, a part of all of this in Hollywood with Diddy and all the rap artists. And she's a famous singer also. And she's been in the industry for 4 years. She's been in the industry for over 30 years. And when you watch her interviews, you can't help but think or wonder, such a passionate woman. Normally when somebody's talking to you with such passion, there's truth behind her words. And if you listen to her and her stories, her horrific stories, I personally believe every word that she's been on the Piers Morgan show, and that was only not long ago. And for Piers Morgan to even bring you up onto his network, I mean, the vetting that goes on is enormous. So obviously the woman has some credibility to even put her on his show. And the things she was saying on the Piers Morgan show, well anyway, backtracking a little bit, this woman has been in the industry with Diddy and all of them for the last 30 years. Okay, she was very loud, a very loud woman, but that's just part of her character. A bit of a sad past regarding her family and so forth. Again, that's irrelevant. But the things that she has to say are outrageous, absolutely outrageous. Now, some would say that, you know, there's a price on her head for what she's doing right now. I don't think she cares. I honestly don't think she gives a damn. And I'll tell you why. Because about a few years back, she lost her son. He was murdered, 19 years of age, in a parking lot. It was the one true love in her life. So she lost her son. She proclaims that the reason he was murdered was because they got to him. Because she was a troublemaker, she was talking out too much. So they hired people to murder her son, the people that she'd grown up with for the last 30 years. And they thought by murdering her son that she would go back into the background, stricken with grief, and that would get rid of her. Well, it hasn't. She's come back and she's a woman scorned. I don't think she cares if she's assassinated. She has said so much so far that she's enlightened so many of us all. She's enlightened so many of us all about the corruption, the evil that is taking place in Hollywood. She was asked a question which really stood out in my mind, and it was, do you feel that Hollywood is just a smokescreen? You know what her reply was? Don't forget, bear in mind, she's been in the system for 30 years. Her reply was, she believes that Hollywood is a huge cover-up for a huge sex trafficking ring. I don't know if you remember back with all these conspiracy theories that there were tunnels underground, underneath Hollywood even, and all these children went missing. Thousands of children went missing and still haven't been found. And the suspicion was that these children were taken underground to sell to the highest bidder, the highest bidding pedophiles. Those children were never found. So perhaps she has a point. Perhaps she has a point. So here we have it. We have this woman on the rampage right now, Jaguar Wright. If you don't know who she is, tune into YouTube, place her name. She's a very passionate woman. I believe everything she's saying is true. Now, we're all talking about the Hollywood celebrities, Hollywood celebrities. And how could they attend these parties knowing for a fact there were underage children being brought in? So the lawyer behind it all, Tony Busby, is suing them all. His attempt is to sue them all. And they've gone running up the hills, pardon the pun, Hollywood Hills, but they've gone undercover. But we're all focused on Hollywood. But what we are not focused on is, okay, in the UK, there is no such thing as Hollywood. However, P. Diddy was known for coming to the UK. I'm from the UK. And it sickens me what I've heard. Well, video cover. It's not about what I've heard. You can look on YouTube, you can see for yourself. Giggs, the rapper, very close with Diddy, attending all the parties in the UK. In the UK. All the footballers, not all of them, attending the parties, knowing what he's known for. When they asked Jaguar Wright, what was Diddy's, what was the main focus of this man? What did he want? What was his ultimate aim? And you know what she said? She said his aim was to make heterosexual men gay. It was like a form of control for him. Interesting. So he's a control addict. He has to control people. Getting back to the UK. Now, I grew up idolising, and it sickens me to say this, it really does, because, you know, when I was growing up, when we saw all the models coming out from UK and they were in the Vogue magazine and so forth and on the catwalks, I was impressionable and I loved the clothing. I thought they were they were supermodels. Naomi Campbell is a friend of Diddy's, a good friend of Diddy's. And she, which is public knowledge now, she was bringing underage models to these parties. How sickening is that? How sickening. It's not just going on in Hollywood. It's been going on in the UK right underneath our nose. Rain Woomy, Beckham. They would go to these parties knowing for a fact what his freak-off parties entailed. That's disgusting. But nobody's talking, are they? Where are all these footballers now? Where's Naomi Campbell now? Where are they? And there's many more. But you won't be able to hide for long. You won't be able to stay silent for long because it's becoming more public and more. Lots of people have video footage, even on their mobile phones at home. A lot of people have footage. You're going to have to answer for this. You're going to have to answer because it's sickening. Because how can you attend these parties in the UK knowing for a fact what he was known for and still is bringing all these underage children, right? You know these 1,000 bottles of baby oil that they're talking about? Well, it's come to light, not officially disclosed yet, but this would make sense. Those bottles were not filled with baby oil, they were filled with ket, and that's the horse drug. If you want to put a 2,000 pound horse weighing 2,000 pounds to sleep, you would use that. And it was mixed with liquid cocaine. So when you used to rub it onto the body, you would become limp. Can you imagine what that would do to a child? If that can do that to a 2,000 pound horse? Disgusting. They're human monsters. The women in their lives, I won't list them all now, maybe that's for another episode, but the women in their lives that were used and abused and thrown out, they started to write books. Their biographies about what happened while they were in that life. The moment that the book was about to be published, their bodies were found. They were murdered. So it's like a mafia, really, isn't it? However, when you think of the Italian mafia, you think back to the movies and everything. They didn't harm children, did they? They didn't harm children. They were just men versus men. If you did the dirty, you'd get murdered. But this is not like a Mafia. They like to call themselves the Mafia in Hollywood, but they're not. They're not, because anybody that harms a child, they're not even a man. Not even a man, let alone being part of a Mafia. Sickening. So there we have it. We have the UK, just like in Hollywood, attending these parties. Very friendly with Diddy and all the rest of them, and Jay-Z. And also, you'll hear so the suspicions about the satanic ceremonies that used to take place, and we used to hear about them. Well, Jaguar has a tattoo on her neck, and when asked, "You've had this tattoo covered, what was it before when you first had it done?" It was a head with horns, so it was the devil. She had that, and they asked her, why did you put the devil on your neck? She answered, for protection. So what she's really saying is that if you look at most of them have tattoos to do with the devil. Protection. So if she hadn't have had it, she would have taken the backlash for that. So she had to appear like she was a devil worshipper. And it's like Beyonce. The proof is coming out. What she's known for is witchcraft. That's absolutely amazing. And did you know, over the last few days, since Jaguar went on the Pierce Morgan show, sorry. Pierce Brosnan's the actor, isn't it? Pierce Morgan. She has lost, Beyonce, over 3 million followers. Now, if you go on her Instagram fan account, you'll see the abuse that she is taking at the moment, because the truth is coming out. The truth is, nobody wants to be associated with acceptance of harming children. They don't. And have you noticed, when you're listening to the news, they're talking more about the celebrities, the adults that attended these parties. I know you've got to start somewhere, and you've got to start at the beginning. However, why aren't they mentioning the children as often as they're mentioning the adults? And the dilemma they're having right now is, even when these children start to come forward, which some of them are, how will their evidence be uplifted in court when they don't remember anything? Because they rub this oil into their bodies. How will they remember? So what will be the end result on all of this? I do believe he's going to stay in prison forever. I don't care what lawyers how good the lawyers are, because there's a hell of a lot of evidence against him. This is a message to the people in the UK, because it's disgusting how you went. You knew very well. You knew very well. Is it just to be cool to be seen in that? The rapper gig, right? You knew what he was doing. His freak off parties are famous. You knew what he was doing. And the lawyer, Tony Busby, I'm sure will want to talk to all of you in the UK that attended the parties. He will want to see you all, and he will. It's just awful. It's all beyond me. So, the Illuminati. Again, is it real or isn't it real? The more that's being released, the more we're finding out it's real. So you sign the deal, you get into Hollywood. Yes, I'm part of the Illuminati. When the Illuminati calls in for a favor, you've got to do it. Because if you don't, your career is over. Your career is over. So you spent all your life trying to become an actor. You've got your big home, you've got your family, you've got all this, and all of a sudden, it can all vanish because you don't comply with their rules. Like Ashton Kutcher, he was happily in the relationship with Myla, and then all of a sudden, he ended up with Demi Moore, much younger. And then after that, he ended up back with Myla again. Well, why did that happen? Doesn't make any sense. Publicity stunt. Because he was told to do that. The Illuminati pulled in a favor. So it had to happen. So they go into this. And the witchcraft and the satanic ceremonies, and you look for evidence. Look at the tattoos. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I like to read everything. However, Even when Jaguar is talking, she says everybody has tattoos, you just have to find them. Everybody has them. Because it's a deal that's all made when they go in. And the corruption that's going on. And the hitmen that they have. They wipe you out. Now, she hasn't been killed yet. I don't think she's bothered. Because if you watch her on YouTube, she has a lot to say and she will not back down. She will not back down, and I have a lot of admiration for this woman because so many people stay quiet and they care more about themselves than the truth. And this happens often. This happens often. And this woman I admire. This woman is telling the truth. This woman is a hurt woman because she lost the love of her life, Giovanni, her son, who she feels the death of her son is on their shoulders. Diddy and the pack, let's say. There's hundreds of them. All bisexual. Not that it matters. It doesn't what sexuality you are. But they all participated in watching or raping the children. So they deserve what's coming to them. And this will be the crumbling down of Hollywood. Because we've grown up watching the TV. We wouldn't have had a clue what was going on behind the scenes. And this woman, Jaguar, she is incredible. You have to watch her, listen to what she says, listen to all the stories she's coming out with, naming names, naming dates, what's happened, and the passion she cries because she gets upset. Yes, she's not an actress. She was a rap artist, a very, very, very good singer. And they buried her career. There's so many songs that she wanted to release that she sang and she couldn't. And it's like Rihanna right now. For some reason, right, a lot of her songs are put on hold. So let's see what happens. So getting back to the UK, right? Naomi Campbell and the rest of you, all of you, why did you attend these parties knowing that children were being brought in? Naomi Campbell, how could you have taken underage models to these parties knowing for well what Diddy and all these croonies were up to? How could you do that? You had a good enough career. You had money. You had it all. You had admiration for all the young girls. So why did you stoop so low? Why did you do that? Out of greed. But you know what? Like I said in the last video, how the mighty have fallen, how you will fall, as for Beyonce, she's losing followers on Instagram rapidly. Don't believe me? Have a look. Rapidly, because of her participation in all of this. And Jay-Z, her husband, also narcissist, also the backbone of Diddy. And he had a mistress, and he got her pregnant, and all of a sudden the mistress gets on a faulty plane, and that plane crashes, killing her, who's only in her early 20s, and the baby. Miraculous. And the baby. So, all of them die. All the mistresses, all the women that come in and then out of their lives, they die. Mysteriously. All. And the ones that are writing biographies, telling the story of what they've just left behind, they all die. And the only woman that is allowed to run her mouth is Jaguar Wright, who I admire. And I hope she stays alive. I hope you stay alive, Jaguar, to bring Hollywood down. Because if these atrocities have been happening for all these years, and we've supported it by watching all the movies, by buying all the music, we won't. We will stop too. Because us, the public, we don't support it either. And we're on your side. We'll be on your side. So we'll be bringing them down together in a kind of way. Well, let me know what your comments are. Let me know what your views are on all of this. Subscribe, share and like. And I'll get back to you in a few days with an update And like I said, it's not just in Hollywood, it's going on in the UK as well. Thank you. See you next time.